It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it's great to have you in studio with us today. Jackie McConnell from the Camp Verde Marshal's office is back with us. She's the commander out there. Welcome back, Jackie.
Thank you. Always good to be here.
Yeah, this is your a quarterly report.
It is.
At least this year we've been kind of doing quarterly reports because you've been new to the Camp Verde Marshal's office.
Yes.
So it's nice to have somebody come in from the Marshal's office and fill us in on what's going on out there in Camp Verde. Camp Verde Marshal's office is 567-6621 for a phone number. And then we've got Facebook pages out there now, which I notice is doing really well.
Yes, Facebook page is doing very well. We're up to 1,300 likes.
Okay, all right.
Which is a lot of likes for a small town.
Sure, and you just got that fired up this year, right?
Yeah, I think it's actually been going for a little bit, but we've been hitting it pretty hard this year.
Yeah.
So we're pretty good about putting something out there almost every day. So we're very satisfied with the number of likes we have.
I was going to say, I think the first time you came in here, the social media was something we talked about with you, that you wanted to get kind of Camp Verde plugged in with the social media. So
yes, and we've gotten very good compliments on our social media. So we're very happy about that.
It's happening out there. You have had a busy few months.
We have.
Out there.
Yes.
I mean, let's start with the first thing. You guys had a homicide, which is something that's a little unusual for Camp Verde. You don't hear about it very often.
Very unusual, and I think that was probably about 3 weeks ago. I believe it was on the 10th of September.
Okay.
Right? No, October.
Okay.
I believe it was October 10th, yes. So we had a homicide. One individual was killed. And the amazing thing about that incident is because of our partnerships, the Yavapai County Attorney's Office stepped in and they provided us with one detective who was with us most of the way through. Our two detectives worked their rear ends off. The partnerships with the Phoenix Police Department, Pinal County Sheriff's Office. Because of all the partnerships, the whole case came together and it was fantastic. We had the suspect in custody the next day, almost within 24 hours.
That was pretty impressive. I was kind of surprised to hear he was caught already.
He was, and again, that was partnerships. I was picking up the phone and calling people down in the valley with the Phoenix Police Department, the Fugitive Apprehension and Investigations Detail.
Where you're from? You're from the Phoenix Police Department?
Yes.
Okay.
So those former contacts were definitely beneficial because I was just able to pick up the phone. I knew who to call. Called down there. They jumped on it literally right away, no questions asked. They knew it was an important case, and we were pretty sure that the suspect, Levi, was in the Phoenix area. And so they literally jumped on it right away, helped us. They stayed on it till he was caught. And then even after he was caught, they helped us with at least one search warrant. Pinal County Sheriff's Office was great because the suspect was actually apprehended in Queen Creek, which is in Pinal County. Okay. Pinal County Sheriff's Office stepped up and helped us out. So the partnerships in that, in terms of who we work with on a regular basis and the partnerships that we can create in law enforcement are what made that case a success. Let
me ask you this. Has it always been the case for you in the years that you've been an officer? These kind of partnerships, have they always been this tight?
Yes.
They have?
Yeah, they have been. Phoenix was a much bigger department,
right.
But still the partnerships within the police department itself were very important, and external partnerships. I had a lot of partnerships with external partners outside of the police department as well. Up here, you find the departments have a lot less resources within the department, so you're probably partnering with outside agencies, maybe more, but partnerships have always been important, and honestly, I teach at NAU, and I teach a class on criminal justice, and that's one thing that I tell my students is you never know you meet with somebody 1 year, you never know in several years when you might need that person again as a contact, so always treat your contacts carefully, I guess.
Don't burn those bridges.
Don't burn bridges.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess the same thing goes with the news department and you guys. We don't want to burn those. We got to build a rapport with you. And
yeah, don't burn your bridges.
Don't burn the bridges.
Gosh,
you just don't want to do that, So if you stay off the record, it's got to stay off the record. Otherwise, there goes that bridge up in smoke. Poof, just like that. Okay, so homicide investigation underway. So you stay in close contact with the victim's family throughout this entire process?
For the most part, yes. Yeah. One of the things about a small town, Camp Verde, is most of my officers, my detectives, know a lot of people in Camp Verde. So they actually, I believe they kind of knew the victim's family And so we did stay in close contact before we even put out the victim's name. Obviously, we made sure that the family was okay with it. And you know, interestingly enough, on our Facebook page, somebody had posted, we had not released the victim's name, and somebody put up there, because, you know, of course, small town, everybody talks.
Sure, everybody knows everybody.
Yes. And the nice thing is somebody had made a comment, and then I made a comment about we weren't ready to release the victim's name, and whoever had posted that pulled their comment. So
that's good.
So that was kind of nice. And it's one of those things, people just have to remember, you know, social media can be very beneficial, but putting information out there, especially on who a victim is before the family's ready for it or has been notified that it's going to go out, can be very hurtful.
Yeah.
I mean, they're dealing with enough pain as it is. And so, yeah, before we released any of that information, we talked to the victim's family.
Okay, all right. That's good. There's another partnership right there. Another thing, we've had a couple of other stories from you guys. ATV thefts. You've had quite a few of those out there.
We have had a lot of ATV thefts. They've slowed down recently. And we've had a lot of burglaries. We believe it's probably the same crew, for the most part, believed in the ATV thefts and burglaries. And we do have leads that we're working on. And hopefully we'll have a very positive update for you within the next week or two.
And then you had put out something asking folks to make their ATVs, motorcycles, and whatnot, OHVs, a little less accessible to people driving by. And, you know, if you drive by and you see one sitting in the front yard,
with the key in the ignition.
It's just, you know, it's so easy. But we talk about this all the time, even with the holiday time here right now. People got to think about keeping your cars locked up.
Yes.
All the time. If you leave your car, you got to lock it up now. I know. You used to be able to leave your doors open and you didn't have to worry about these things, but this is what's happening. So you were telling people to go ahead and maybe park it in the garage.
If they have a garage or someplace where you don't see it from the street or a back alley or wherever, park it out of sight. Definitely take the key out of it. If there's a way that you can even put a cable lock on it, cable lock it. You know, it's so easy because in the Verde Valley, we're pretty safe. However, sometimes because we feel safe, that's taken advantage of by would-be burglars. And for them, a lot of times it's a crime of opportunity.
Exactly.
So if they have that inclination and they're walking by something and they see the key in the ignition and it's sitting in the driveway, I mean, why not? So my thing is make it a little bit more challenging for them so that at least it takes an effort, because sometimes if it takes an effort, it's going to deter them and they're going to move on to the next thing.
Even if it's just for a second, I mean, just think about how long it takes. I mean, okay, you've got your vehicle running outside the convenience store. You're just going to run in for a second. But then you never know, there's somebody in the parking lot maybe watching saying, oh, there's my vehicle. That's the one sitting right there. It's already running. They just filled up with gas. I could take this a long ways away. And it only takes a second to jump in a car, stick it in reverse, and off you go.
It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
right?
The little things. I mean, shutting your car off, taking the keys out of the ignition, the little things. Yeah, I mean, even when I'm filling my car up with gas, I mean, I close all the doors, and I'm still paying attention because, you know, if you think about it, if you're putting gas in your car and you're not really paying attention and your doors are open and somebody's got the purse sitting on the seat and somebody just has to walk by and it takes a fraction of a second. So just easy things like that, which again, when we feel safe in our community, which is a good thing, that can be easily taken advantage of.
Yeah, we have to take our first break already.
What?
Yeah, I know. Jackie McConnell, Commander with Camp Verde Marshal's office in studio today. This is Countywide. We'll take a quick 2-minute break and we'll be right back.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man. Women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60. 2 over 50. 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. so he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking about the Camp Verde Marshal's office with Commander Jackie McConnell. She is in studio with us today. Their number is 567-6621. Also, you've had some tool thefts.
We have.
Yeah.
Yes, and those kind of go along, like I was saying, with
$5
the
tools.
Yeah, one was at least $20,000. It was a cable locator, I believe, and the burglars just happened to get lucky with that one. They honestly probably didn't even know what they had when they took it. They just knew it looked like
grab, huh?
It looked like a cool tool. Which rhymes, cool tool. Yeah. But yeah, so they just took it, and they had no idea what they had, and it turns out it was a very expensive $20,000 item.
Okay, so lock the tools up too. And then I noticed on your Facebook page that you guys were looking for Robbie Hill in July.
Yes, Robbie Hill is a longtime Camp Verde resident, and we are looking for him. And if anybody has any information on his whereabouts, give us a call. If they want to remain anonymous, they can call Yavapai Silent Witness. If they don't care about remaining anonymous, call us, let us know, shoot us an email, whatever. But we'd definitely like to get him in custody. Every now and then we post on our Facebook page some of our local residents who have felony arrest warrants, and he's our current focus. Okay, alrighty. So Camp Verde's most wanted, huh? That's
just
right.
kind of throw him up there and remind everybody that this person's wanted.
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's clever. All right. Let's focus on some good news. I think it was last week you sent out a couple of folks there got some promotions. Yes. Dan Jacobs, who was a corporal. And I believe he was a corporal for about a year. He is now a sergeant. He took a long process, a 5-hour process, the poor guy. He did very well. And he's our newest sergeant, Sergeant Dan Jacobs. And one of our deputies, Brandon Collins, who has been with the department, I want to say about 8 years. Brandon has a variety of experience. Brandon took the test to become a corporal. And so now he is Corporal Brandon Collins. Is it hard, the testing for this? For these positions to move up like that? It is. The sergeant's testing is more difficult because that's like the sergeant position is more of a supervisory position. So we can kind of get a picture of just how difficult it is. What does a sergeant do for a police department? The sergeant is your first line supervision. They're actually, in my personal opinion, one of the most important supervisory positions on a police department because they're first line supervision. They're working with the officers or the deputies day in and day out. They're the ones that are going to see things first, ideally, and be able to hold their officers or deputies accountable first before it becomes a big issue, right? They read the reports, they approve the reports. It's a very important position. And for us, corporal is a preparation for sergeant. So the corporal actually does everything, in all honesty, that the sergeant does. But it's kind of a preparation. And so we don't make it as vigorous of a process in that for us, it was a position that was approved by town council. And technically, it's only good for 6 months. So if in 6 months, somebody else wants to test for corporal, Corporal Collins might have to step down if somebody else tests better than he does. So he could test again, but that's more of a preparation for becoming a sergeant down the road. All right, so it is still, get your feet wet. Yeah, and I mean, you're nervous. I mean, it's an oral board. It's an oral board for this one. I believe we had the town manager, the marshal, myself, somebody from HR. I mean, it's still a nerve-wracking process. Kind of grilling them a little bit? Yes. What would you do in this scenario, that scenario, this? Some scenario-based stuff, some policy-based stuff. So he spent a lot of time studying for the test, as did. And then a little bit of a difference with the sergeant testing position. He was given what we call like an in-basket exercise where he has to prioritize things. He was given, an actual scenario and whatnot. So processes were a little different.
One maybe a little bit more vigorous than the other, but both pretty nerve-wracking for both candidates.
Okay, all right, well, good for them.
Yes.
Good for them. All right, very cool. All right, and you have a Shop with a Cop raffle. Now, all of this I'm getting off your Facebook page. I pulled it up this morning, was just looking at it, and I was just scrolling down, and I thought, okay, I'm going to ask Jackie about this and this. But you've got a Shop with a Cop raffle as well.
Yes, and I'd like to say, if you can do Facebook, anybody can, because you don't do Facebook, right?
True. That is so true.
So anybody can go to our Facebook page.
I know. I don't care for Facebook very much, but I do go to the Camp Verde Marshal's office Facebook page. So what is the Shop with a Cop raffle?
The Shop with a Cop raffle is a carbine rifle that's being donated by the Arizona Rangers. And several Verde Valley agencies are involved with Shop with a Cop. Cottonwood Police Department usually really helps head that up with Sergeant Monica Colt. She puts a lot of time into this effort.
Great.
And then somebody from the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, and I can't think of his name right now. So those two really head it up. And then as the holiday approaches, the other Verde Valley agencies usually get involved. So we have our first meeting, I think, this week for the actual Shop with a Cop event. And the carbine rifle raffle is those proceeds will be used to go towards the Shop with a Cop event.
Okay, so how do we get the tickets for that?
You can buy them from Cottonwood PD. You can get them from the Camp Verde Marshal's office. It's $20 a ticket. Probably a pretty good, your likeliness of winning is probably pretty good compared to most raffles if you're a gun fanatic. And if you go to our Facebook page, you can actually see pictures of the rifle and the specs.
Okay, all right. And then is there a deadline?
I believe if you look at our Facebook page, I want to say the raffle is held on the, it's like the 20th, I don't remember the exact date. If you go to our Facebook page, I put the date that the raffle's held, so obviously you have to buy tickets before. You can buy them after, but you won't get the rifle.
Right,
but
yeah.
We'd be more than happy to take the donation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the donations will still go with Shop with a Cop, but
Yes.
I mean, why not sign up for the raffle anyways and get
Absolutely.
that? But I believe the Shop with a Cop's usually early December is when the shopping actually takes place, because I know the Quad City officers were putting one out too that they're going to have their Shop with a Cop as well. So
the event itself, I want to say, is maybe December 15th, somewhere around there. Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have the actual dates,
That's
but
okay.
it is early December. And again, it's a fantastic event. Hopefully there will be some photos taken like last year and some pictures put out with the kids going shopping with cop, with police officers. And again, it's about serving our community in a different fashion. Right? People are used to us going out and enforcing the law. This is about serving some of the children that we've come in contact with throughout the year by making sure that they get a Christmas.
yeah, it does put you guys in a different light.
It does.
You're human beings.
Yes, and helping change the perception of law enforcement in today's day and age is fantastic.
Right, right. So it is a good opportunity. I know we've talked about it for, I don't know how many years now, but I think every year it comes up, the Shop with a Cop.
And interestingly enough, I was talking to one of my employees yesterday, and this particular employee was talking about how she felt awkward because she had made a small donation towards a nonprofit. And my explanation to her was, if it's $1, it adds up. And Shop with a Cop, I believe the proceeds do go to a nonprofit. We'd have to check with Sergeant Monica Colt to see how that's working this year. But the point being is it's never anything too little when you're donating to a good cause. $1, $5, it's all good. When a kid donates 25 cents, the kid's learning to donate to a good cause.
True.
So there is no amount too little.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's take our next break, okay?
Again?
Yeah, I know. Jackie's always surprised by this. Jackie McConnell with the Camp Verde Marshal's office in studio today. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. Even though we are one of the most food-rich countries in the world, 15 million children don't know where their next meal is coming from. This is unacceptable, and something the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is working to solve. Instead of accepting that our country lets billions of pounds of surplus food go to waste every year, Feeding America has made it their mission to help families in need by rescuing this food. Through food pantries and meal programs, the nationwide network of food banks provides more than 3 billion meals, serving virtually every community in the United States, including yours. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by visiting feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left with Jackie McConnell, Commander for the Camp Verde Marshal's Office. A couple more things to talk about. No shave. That's been, Prescott PD talked about it. I want to say Chino Valley PD has talked about it. You're talking about it. What is this No Shave November?
Well, as you can tell, I haven't shaved yet.
Neither have
in November.
Not for years.
This is true.
Yes.
No, seriously, No Shave November is, most departments do not allow, it's against policy for the men to have facial hair.
Why is that?
Professional appearance.
Oh, okay.
So, wait, so you're not professional at this
I know,
point.
apparently not. I'm just trying to figure that out.
You cannot be a police officer.
I can't.
But, so November is No Shave November.
Mm-hmm.
So the deputies or the officers get to, for us it was putting $20 in a kitty. It was a donation that they were allowed to do. And with that donation, then they're allowed to wear or have facial hair for the month of November. So we've got some scruffy looking deputies running around Camp Verde right now, and they wear a little pin.
Aren't we? Yeah.
Yes, those of you with facial hair.
Where's the money go?
For us, it's going to go to COPS, which is a nonprofit that helps police survivors.
Okay.
And then I think every department, it goes someplace different. For us, it's going to go to COPS.
Okay. All right. So each department's kind of choosing their own charity to donate the money to. And how many officers did you have wind up?
Actually, for a small department, we did pretty good. I believe we raised at least $200.
Mm-hmm. So a bunch did.
Yeah, because
I'll tell you something. We're pretty professional, even if we have facial hair.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
We'll have to get a picture at the end of the month.
Yeah. End of the month. Get a picture and put that on your Facebook page. I'll find it. Maybe.
There you go. Yeah, maybe we'll include you.
And then volunteers. You need more volunteers down there?
Volunteers are always important.
Okay.
We could use volunteers in the office, outside of the office. We have a new volunteer right now. A young kid. He was actually one of my students last semester at NAU, and he's helping with patrol duties.
Oh, okay.
So he's out. Yeah, I mean he's smart. He's learning what it's like to be involved with the police department.
That's good.
We have several volunteers. Some help out in evidence. Some help out with investigations. Some help out at the front desk, and they are all just as important as the next.
I noticed you had a couple of folks on patrol when the library was reopened, just to help guide traffic around and get that taken care of.
Yeah, big event with traffic control, and having the volunteers allowed us to save money and not have to call a deputy in off duty to do the traffic. So volunteers save us a lot of money.
Well, that's it. We're out of time.
Happy
holidays
fun.
to you. Yeah, I probably won't see you again until after the New Year. So we got Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year.
Probably not. So happy holidays from the Camp Verde Marshal's office.
There you go.
And it's been a pleasure as always.
Okay, this is your unprofessional Paul David. Thank you so much for watching and listening. This has been Countywide. We'll talk to you again next time.